everyone, I'm Grace Asakura, formerly known as Yu Asakura, and welcome to Zen with Grace. I am from Osaka, Japan. I moved to Tokyo, and I moved to Los Angeles, where I am right now. I am an actor here, and I used to teach Japanese on this channel, and the last several videos that I uploaded a while ago were about Japanese proverbs. I love them. They're like old school memes, right? And I feel like we can share those ideas and we can just, think about life. So therefore, the title is Zen with Grace. So today, I wanted to introduce you to this phrase. 郷に入れば郷に従え. You might hear the other version, 郷に入っては郷に従え. It's the same thing. If you are in a village, just follow the village's rules and do as the villagers do. So basically, if you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I'm sorry if you hear the bell sounds. Those are my babies, my fur babies, just playing with the toys. But anyway, yes. So the reason I hear this a lot lately is that ever since Japan has been visited by a lot of tourists from all over the world. Some tourists are great, some don't follow the rules. It happens everywhere, right? So since it's a small country and it has sort of like unspoken rules, Japan has a lot of those. So that's why people are talking about, like, when they come visit our country, why don't they follow our rules? So that's one thing. And also, very recently, a couple months ago, was it a couple months? Maybe not a month? Maybe not too that long. But anyway, so we have the first female prime minister of Japan. For me, just the fact that we don't care about the gender of the person to choose the most qualified for the position. So Japan proved that we don't care who it is. Just, let's choose the right person. So for that reason, whatever she does, whoever she is, I think it was a big improvement in Japan. But anyway, so she is, I don't know if she's leaning right. It's totally different when you say it in English because of what's happening in America. So I don't think she's leaning right. She's more for the conservative values. They start to talk about immigrations a lot, which had a lot of problems in the past. So that's why we hear that phrase, 郷に入れば郷に従え, a lot lately. So before I just dive into it, let me tell you my background. So I'm an immigrant, as I mentioned. So I moved to Los Angeles to pursue my acting career. So I know how important it is to be able to choose where you want to live. Then of course, it took me a lot of time, effort, and some money to move here. Then I'm happy now. I'm happy here. I love Japan, don't get me wrong, but I felt blessed that I had the privilege to be here. So immigration issue, overall, everybody should be allowed to choose where they want to live. So every country has different kinds of immigration issues. America has its own, which I may talk later, may not, we'll see. But as for Japan, I think the issue is, number one, the old immigration laws, a lot of loopholes. So it's for certain people, it was easier to take advantage of them, And number two, whether it's the people who came to Japan to live or just to visit, they fail to follow the written rules and unwritten rules of Japan, and they're just causing chaos. Before you criticize what you don't like about where you're visiting or the people you're, you know, the local people, I think it's important that you take a look and I think about why people do the things the way they do. And ultimately, if you don't like it, that's a lesson that you learn from your visit or living there. I mean, if it's unbearable, of course you have to leave, then you have to go back. But there is no perfect place to live, then sometimes you have to make a compromise. If it's a compromise you're willing to make to benefit from other good things of that place, or if it's unbearable, you can always go back to where you felt comfortable. If you ask me if Japan has racism, of course it does. What country never has racism? A lot of Japanese people are going back and forth with racism and statistics. What I mean was, if you have certain experience with continuously, you would automatically think the next time it's gonna be the same thing. For example, I used to work at a restaurant, and I know people from certain countries, they don't know how to tip, or they refuse to understand what tipping system is in America. They may not like it, but we're here in America, and tipping system it's still valid, right? Then I worked there expecting that I would get paid. So I had, let's say, the 3 tables in a row from the same country, they don't leave tips, or they have like very bad tips. The 4th table from the same country, I would be very cautious or very suspicious, like it might happen again, right? Then I remember I was telling my coworkers, like, hey, actually that table, it was good. Like they were great. They left more than the average. And I remember my mean coworker said, oh, that's racism. And I'm like, really? When you think about racism, you have to consider that person's past experience. Was it just based on the non-fictional fear that because somebody's uneducated, or is it caused by an actual experience? And I'm not saying you can hate this group of people just because of that, but can you blame that you get cautious a little bit because of that? Another thing is that after World War II, not all the time, but after the recent modern history of Japan, like, we are not religious. What I'm saying is that freedom of religion is always there. You're free to believe whatever you want, but you don't grow up believing certain things unless your family is into it. So as the government, they're not allowed to push any religion officially. We are not anti-religions, but we don't have any specific religion. So you might be coming from religious countries, which is totally fine, of course, but you cannot use that as your reason to bend the rules. For example, they say you cannot eat certain things. You go to a restaurant. It's hard to find a restaurant to have this, let's say, the food in Japan. They're great. They're awesome. But we don't really have options. They want to use every ingredient possible out there. Just like you believe in something. We believe in that we are okay without religions and that the country is functioning fine. If you need certain accommodations because of religions, it's going to be hard in Japan. It's not really, you can't really get mad for not being able to have that, because we really don't need to accommodate any religions, and that's been our culture the last at least 50 years, and I think it's going to be like that for a while. So that's another thing that we don't have it in us, in our culture, because changing something or someone, it takes a lot of time, and a lot of times they won't change. So it's easier if you change or you choose a place that fits you. Before I go, I just want to say one more thing. Yes, not all the places will fit you, but if you are visiting, like you decide to live in another country like me, I did, I think it's important that at least you learn the basic language. It's really bothering sometimes. Like, I see, this is Los Angeles, so you see a lot of people from all over the world. Sometimes, like, they don't speak the basic English. I'm not asking you to speak like a scholar or a lawyer, right? But just to do everyday transactions, they can't. Then when I asked them, like, how long have you lived here? And it's like, oh, 5 years. It's like, well, they don't say in 5 years, a different language. Or like some Japanese people the same way too. They say, oh, how long have you lived here? Like, 5 years. It's like, and you should know how to speak English a little better, because that's the basic way to communicate. And if you cannot communicate with people, they would have a hard time understanding you. And if you have beef with people not understanding you, because maybe you're not trying enough to be understood. So that's one thing that I want to say. Wherever you go, whether it's English or Japanese or any other languages, if you're just a tourist, maybe you can get away with it for a little bit. But why don't you just say hello or thank you, sorry, those 3 phrases. But if you are living, there's no excuse that you don't know the basic of their language. So I would seriously ask you to learn Japanese if you're living in Japan, or if you to learn English if you are coming to the States. So I think that's a fair favor to ask, right? But other than that, 郷に入れば郷に従え. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. But it's okay to wonder if this is the place for you or not. They're not saying if you're in Rome, be as the Romans. They're saying do as the Romans do, right? So you don't have to be one of them, but you just have to follow the rules. You have to adjust your actions. But your inner self, you can always stay you. But it's just, easier for everybody if you learn how to follow the rules. Well, thank you for watching today, and I will see you on the next episode of Zen with Grace. Bye!